give reverence to God, Bishop Glass, to our co-speaker Keon, my family who's present today, youth leaders, visiting youth, and friends. The theme is youth and young adults answering their call to serve in God's army. As a sub-theme, I will use youth fighting as warriors for the Lord. In order to serve in God's army, we have to have that warrior mentality. We all face setbacks in life, and we all face disappointments. But the trick of the enemy is to try to keep us focused only on the negative things that has happened to us. All our hurts and pains, all our mistakes and failures, and all of our disappointments. His goal is to deceive us into having the wrong mindset. He knows that if we're constantly dwelling on the pains of the past, then before long, we're going to become discouraged, walk around with a bad attitude, and think, life is just not for me. And some of us fall right into his trap and living with this victim mentality. So instead of standing strong, we just give up. You can either be pitiful or powerful, but you can't be both. Just like the children of Israel, they chose to be pitiful. They had this victim mentality, and it kept them from going into the promised land. True enough, they had a lot of setbacks in life, and they had a lot of unfair things happen to them. See, they were slaves over in Egypt, and they were mistreated and were forced to work these long hours and were given tasks that were impossible to meet. And when they didn't fulfill those tasks, the Israelites' foreman would be beaten with rods. This went on year after year, but one day, God supernaturally brought them out of all that bondage. They were headed towards the promised land. And with one miracle after another, God took them through the wilderness, and finally, they reached the promised land, and they're camped right next door. And God promised to give them the victory. All they had to do was fight for the land. All they had to do was have that warrior mentality. So Moses sent 12 men to spy out the land. After so long, 10 of those men came back. They said, Moses, the land is beautiful. It's everything we ever dreamed of. But there's one major problem. There are giants in the land. And the first thing they said after that was, let's get back to Egypt. See, God brought them out of Egypt, but Egypt never did leave out of them. They saw themselves as being weak and defeated and not able to take the land. Sometimes we have to get out of our comfort zone and let God have his way in our lives. Do you have a warrior mentality? Well, I can't do it. I don't have what it takes. I've been through too much. My obstacles are too high. And I'm guilty of this myself. I'm ready to change my major every semester because it gets hard. I tell myself I can't get it. But God has promised me the victory if I just stand my grounds and fight for that land. You are well able to do what God has called you to do. Take the limits off of God and never give up. Just like the children of Israel, every time we face adversity, we turn and run in the opposite direction. You've got to know that greater is he that's in you than he that's in the world. You have to know that you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. You may have some big enemies in your life, but God is so much bigger. Philippians 1:28 says, don't be intimidated or frightened in any way by your enemies. Some of you are facing great enemies today, whether it be school, the enemy of depression, or just the enemy of giving up. Whatever it may be, God said don't be intimidated. Don't be full of fear. Will stop you from doing a lot of things in life, and it can cause you to miss a lot of great opportunities. It almost stopped me from being up here today, but I had to tell fear, give me my confidence back, give me my faith back, and give me my power back. I had to realize that it's not even about me. It's to glorify my Father which is in heaven. 2 of those 12 spies came back with a different report. They didn't focus on the size of their enemies. They focused on the size of their God. They had that warrior spirit, and we have to be the same way. We have to stay dressed and ready for battle. Our attitude has to be, come on, Satan, make my day. I know who lives on the inside of me. I know who I am fighter, not a whiner. 2 Corinthians 4:8-10 says, we are troubled on every side, but we're not crushed. We are perplexed because we don't know why things happen as they do, but we don't give up and quit. We are hunted down, but God never abandoned us. We get knocked down, but we get back up again and keep going. These bodies of ours are constantly facing death, but it is the living Christ who keeps us safe. You may get knocked down, but you don't have to get knocked out. The enemy is not going to roll out the red carpet for you and let you fulfill your destiny. You have to stand strong and fight this good fight of faith. You're not going to always find someone to encourage you. Grandmama love you, and she going to pray for you, and so will mama. But we got to learn how to do like David did and encourage ourselves. We have to learn how to take on the enemy one-on-one. And when David talks about his relationship with God, he said, God teaches my fingers to war. He teaches me how to fight, how to not be a wimp, how to not roll over and lay down and run home crying every time he ran into opposition. God taught him to stand with his head held high and his back straight and deal with the issues of life. David was a warrior. Warriors accept responsibility whether they're right or they're wrong. If they're wrong, they say, I was wrong and I accept the responsibility. They don't blame everyone else. That means you don't run home when you get it wrong. You stay right there, work it out, and put it back together again. David had to go out and fight the Amalekites. He was so tired that half of his army collapsed on the way to the battle. They said, we can't go any further, and they stopped. But because David was the kind of man that encouraged himself, when other people collapsed, he kept on going because he had something on the inside of him that renewed him in the time of battle. Either you get beat or you get better in the battle. See, sometimes everyone with you can't keep up with you because everybody don't have the capacity to face disappointment after disappointment and keep on keeping on. And he didn't rebuke them for being tired, nor did he stay with them while they were tired. He loved them, but David kept moving. Some folks, you have to love them and keep moving. I'm sorry you fainted, but I still have to fight. I'm sorry you gave up, but I'm going to go ahead. Stop feeling guilty because you don't die while other folks die and you didn't give up while other folks gave up. Because when you give up, because when they give up, folks want you to give up too. But tell the devil you ain't coming. See, I've learned over the years that it ain't about how many you got. It's about how tough the few are that you have left. God's going to use what you have left to get you the victory. God said if he stops the battle now, you'll miss your crown. So cry if you must, but don't stop till you get your crown. Because God said when I send the crown, I will send power to the place of your pain. And until you can deal with your pain, you can't receive your power. Stop avoiding it. Stop running from it. Face it. 1, we have to live with faith in our hearts. 2, we have to live with expectancy. And 3, we have to be a fighter. In closing, as a youth and as a young person, I know what life can throw at you. But believe me, it's not as bad as you think it is. Be careful of the company you keep because everybody hasn't answered their call to serve in God's army. You will have confidence. These are people you can trust. They are into you. They are in for the long haul. They are there to support you and make sure you reach your goals. Next, you'll have constituents. They are not into you. They are into what you are for. And as long as you are for what they are for, they will walk with you and work with you. But if they find someone else that will further their agenda, they will leave you because they were never for you anyway. Lastly, you will have comrades. They are not for you either. They are just against what you are against. They will team up with you to help fight a greater enemy. Don't be confused, though. They will only be with you until the battle is complete. God is with you. He'll stand up for you, and he'll never leave you. So why not stand up for him? Like David, we have our own battles to fight, and we have our own Goliaths to defeat. But that shouldn't stop us. You ask, how do we do this? Just stand up for God. Do the right thing and set a good example for others. Like small children, people need someone to look up to and follow. Maybe not at first, but eventually they'll see how you stand up for God and how happy you are serving him. Matthew 5 and 16 says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. So put your faith and trust in the Lord like David, and you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you.
I won't be before you long today. I would like for you to turn your Bibles to Mark chapter 5, verse 25 through 34. And a woman in the crowd had suffered for 12 years with constant bleeding. She had suffered a great deal from many doctors, and over the years she had spent everything she had to pay them. But she had gotten no better. In fact, she had gotten worse. She had heard about Jesus, so she came up behind him through the crowd and touched his robe. For she thought to herself, if I can just touch his robe, I will be healed. Immediately the bleeding stopped, and she could feel in her body that she had been healed of her terrible condition. Jesus realized at once that healing power had gone out from him. So he turned around in the crowd and asked, who touched my robe? His disciples said to him, look at this crowd pressing around you. How can you ask who touched me? But he kept on looking around to see who had done it. Then the frightened woman, trembling at the realization of what had happened to her, came and fell at his feet and told him what she had done. And he said to her, daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace, your suffering is over. Today I would like to use for a thought. Reference God and free yourself of limitation. During my research on this topic, my main focus was understanding her faith. The amazing thing about the whole scenario is she initially appears on the surface to be an intrusion. She approaches Jesus while he is on his way to the house of Jairus, whose child was dying. Jewish customs and protocol was so stringent that any woman on her cycle were to be isolated, and anything they touched, including themselves, was deemed unclean, and she risked everything she knew. But she felt that all she had to do was touch him, his garment, she would be made whole. If she would have submitted herself to what people said and their beliefs, she wouldn't have freed herself of her sickness. But the fact that she reverenced God and had faith, she freed herself of those limitations. I began to understand that her motivation to risk so much was because of her relationship with God. Most times as people, we reach for God when things get bad and square away from him when things don't go the way that we think they should. But how can you trust God if you don't have a relationship with him? I then realized that in having a relationship with God, we also must try him. The only way that we can try God is by having faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Knowing that our relationship in God is rooted on faith, we must believe when things get bad. The woman with the issue of blood had to maintain her faith and her relationship with God to persevere. After this meeting, we must stand on our faith and our relationship. Through my experience with building my faith and my relationship with God, a new understanding of life has been achieved. Starting off, it was bumpy. Having faith when things got bad and they didn't go in my favor caused me to sometimes question God. But my consistent relationship with him helped me maintain my faith. As I kept pushing and bad situations came, I started to understand that God may not come when I want him to come. But I can guarantee he is always on time. This in turn gave me a revelation that when I can't, God can. This summer I was put in a situation that really tested my faith. For a long time I was confident in my own ability and what I knew. With this confidence in myself, it enhanced my pride. I was put in a situation that I knew I did all I could possibly do, but things weren't in my favor. The situation caused so much stress to the point that it was depressing. I did everything in my power to fix the situation, but nothing worked. I ended up at the point where I just gave up. One night I prayed to God and I told God I did all I could do and that I was giving up. I prayed that he'd have mercy on me and forgive me of whatever I had done wrong. Finally, when I released my situation to God, I freed myself of the problem. The next morning, I got an email that the situation was turned around and all was well. God revealed to me that Keon can only do so much. Keon's not, is so limited. With God, anything is possible. With this understanding of who I serve, I realized that situations that seem bad to people are just right for God. Now when problems come, I thank God in advance because I know he may not come when I want him to come. But he's always on time. During this situation, I recall when Pastor Glass and I were singing those hymns. I remember when I first started, I had to ask my mom what he was finna say next. I remember a time when he'll start and I look at my mom and say, Mom, what he finna say? But in this situation, when I found God, I understood. You come all the way with me, please don't leave me now. See, I fully understood this now because I know he may not come when I want him to come. See, Keon just knows so much. Keon ain't smart enough. But I understand when I put the God on my side, everything will be all right. And as I kept trying to understand God, I got to the point of saying, I done died one time, I ain't gonna die no more. See, the old Keon is gone away. The one that was vulnerable to criticism, to people talking about me. But see, the new Keon understand when it look bad to you, I'm gonna give you attention. Because when God moves, you'll see it too. When he move in my life, when you think it's bad, see, that's why I'm thankful. I'm thankful for bad situations. When they tell me it's bad, I raise my hands, I thank God. Because when they watching me, when they see you moving me, and they ask me, I just tell them I'm just a nobody, trying to tell somebody that I found my maker, and I freed myself of my limitations. The same people that saw my problem and criticized and talked about me will be the same ones to run into their own problem that they don't understand. And they ever ask me how I got through my problem. Now I tell them, I understand God fully. And I know Keon, he's smart, he's real smart. He's confident too, got a pride. But there's certain things Keon don't know about tomorrow. Keon don't see what tomorrow brings. But I put a person in front of my life that can direct where I'm going and make me understand my purpose. Like I said, I'm just a nobody trying to tell somebody. I found my maker and I freed myself of my limitations. Thank you.